Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacaster. Me, host Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero Strike, Defender of the Fatherland, off here to 1 versus 1. On Langalascar, between the south, you got here Luvnest, fighting for the Soviet Union, socialism, and the 10th Guard Mechanized Corps on a breakthrough mission through German lines. Having blasted through the lines of the 176th Infantry Division, they are making their way towards a vital logistical point in the German army. And right now, Barton here, commanding the 7th Panzer Division, has been ordered to counterattack and stop this breakthrough attempt at all costs. Otherwise, it could very well see the total collapse of the 25th Corps. And it's got here Overwatch Doctor Meet chosen here for Barton. Interesting choice of the Triple Infantry versus Luvnest, Guard Motor, Guard Rifle, and Armored Assault Tactics with Infantry and Machine Gun Bulletins here for Luvnest. With double full grenadiers and a Sturm Pioneer squad here, conscripts and engineers for Luvnest. Setting out there rather quietly. Focus moving westwards. Port there being secured. Indonesia laying down a bit of barbed wire as well over here. Basically looking to block the entrance there. And that's basically how you do it. If you actually want this to prevent them from using the door, you lay it down like this. If you just try to block it, otherwise it won't actually block it. So, little quirk here, but that's how you basically do it. It's a little fun fact there. Points have been secured, points being secured, both setting up secure resources aggressively. Barton, despite playing the upper command system, playing it I think as aggressively as you could, but of course he's just munching the resources right now. Lots of full grenadiers. Luvnest here with a support company into maximum start. In this case, it's likely a counter to what he anticipates. It's going to be an infantry build there from Barton, in which case a maximum can be quite useful in locking that down. In fact, several maxims will be even more useful. So, in this regard, it's basically this expectations of what either players are going for to an extent, or well, what Barton's going to go for, since as the more aggressive faction, he's obviously going to be the aggressor, in which case Luvnest, even as he's playing the aggressive sort, it's technically sort of a slower faction, so he sort of has the one that has to sort of try and predict what Barton's openings movements are going to be and then try to counter that. All he can do, so he could also just try and play aggressively himself, but in this case, Luvnest is favouring the more ponderous method here to counter Barton's strategy here. Full squad being held down. We got sandbags here also, but Barton again is playing. He's not actually playing that aggressively again. He's playing sort of more cautiously. In this case, looking I think to bait out Luvnest here to maybe actually a few moves and then sort of spot out. In this case, spotting the maximum, then flanking with the Sturm Pioneers, forcing retreat here, leaving the car point actually open. Then we got another maximum almost down there for Luvnest. In the west here, folks continue to tie up 2 infantry squads, which leaves this area here quite much more open. So this is actually paying off quite nicely for Barton. I mean, this is 250 man per occupying a lot more and allowing him to make a bigger push into the east. In this case, Luvnest is quick to counterattack with another maximum. Still some interesting moves here from both players in the early game, as they are basically trying to outwit the other one. And so far, it seems like Barton's got the slightly shorter or longer end of the stick. Not shorter end, but longer end of the stick here. As Luvnest sort of more decision towards reactive play. Does have the potential again of leaving him, a bit more exposed if he gets caught off guard, which so far seems to be Barton has slightly done. He's keeping here Luvnest on the defensive. But up north here, the Fulskers will soon be forced to retreat. They're not in a good condition. We're also very close there to having access to the early warnings there for Barton's forces there, with flares being attached to every point. Take off of Barton. Could be Mechanized Regiment. There's been an increase in overall Mechanized Regiment playing versus any maximum heavy build. It could in fact be the solution. It could also be going for the Battle Group headquarters, since he does have a lot of infantry. We'll see what Barton ends up with here. We will see what the 7th Panzer Division ends up with. Bit of skirmishing here. Shots being fired back and forth, and units move ahead as well. And of course again, Barton can easily pass through, so if he has to enter the house he has to go through this way, which of course means retreats are going to be much more hazardous. Constables as Fulskers is here, flame for engineers moving as well, Fulskers moving to the other side. An incendiary grenade here would be potentially helpful, but beyond that right now the issue with the Fulskers is actually bunched up, so the flamethrower becomes that much more effective. Flares up, so Barton can see what's going on there. In the east, maximuming up. Barton's had to get several units just standing about here in the east, not really achieving much, but you don't think it's the best move there for Barton in the early game. He's well, close to 500 manpower just doing nothing, which is the most definitely not what you want it to be doing, in particular not in the early game. But we'll see. Luvnest are pushing it. He's also gone for Guard Motors. Within the first 5 minutes, both players have chosen a doctrine indicating clear strategies. Barton, of course, was the more active one, and Luvnest, I think, was sort of just thinking a bit about it, what was Spartan's likely end game, and then trying to figure out a strategy that sort of counters that. In this case, Guard Motor Might also just be a sign of indecision. It's also very, just straightforward doctrine. Get Guardsmen, you get Heavy Mortars, you get T-35s, you stomp your opponent. That's a rule of thumb, but he's definitely anticipating some armor play there as well, since Mark Vehicle is pretty good in those situations. Continuing ahead here. Very close to Veterans U1. Barton's initial assaults have been pushed back here by Luvnest. Maxim turning up here. Flamethrowers coming up. There we go. Both units and heavy colour makes for some great stuff for the flamethrowing units, except if they get shot to bits. And that could very well then leave the Maxim bit in trouble. They need to focus down in the east. Continue skirmishing here as Luvnest tries to threaten the eastern fuel. Good move. Now the Barton Grenadier here and pushing up the centre. Maxim being shot to bits. We have one full support bar suppressed, which increases the chance of the other one getting suppressed. But there we go. Luvnest is retreating, deciding that's not worth it. In this case, could have been because he saw the units going through here. He might have been worried about a flank. Maxim moving up here. Battle group headquarters is up for Barton. Flak half track is on the way. Could also consider light infantry gun. Ooh, nice flank here. Senses an opportunity to hit the Maxim from one side he doesn't anticipate. Barton once more just pushes the front line as fast as possible versus Luvnest. Again, he wants to make it harder for Luvnest to build a new defensive line. But there you go. Luvnest, though, is definitely looking to keep Barton here also a bit on the defensive. He's trying to force him to divert force away here. So again, if he sent force that, he can force usually any much more expensive unit to have to deal with this, which means it's less units pressing Luvnest on the front line. So good work there by Luvnest. Good work. And there you go. 251-17 out there for Barton. Medics on the way there for him as well to heal up his full grenadiers. So he could go for assault rifles, but so far it's not displaying any overt interest towards that. Maxim shifting westwards here, trying to defend the fuel point. In this case, though, Barton returns the favour to Luvnest there. Flak half jack the wing with its 2 cm flak cannon, which was the standard flak in most cases when they attach anything to a vehicle. It would have been the flak 38 there, though later it would have been the flak feeling, and there was some that actually used the flak 30mm flak there. I can't quite remember its designation, but the 2 cm flak was quite common throughout most of the war. It's a little fun fact there. As the war progressed around, so the issue wasn't increasingly ineffective versus Allied aircraft as they got more armoured. The 2 cm flak just wasn't effective enough. At which point it got mostly shifted towards dealing with infantry and light vehicles. At which point it was still pretty good. But there you go. Barton got off against the conscripts. Troops are being shot to bits. Conscript flanking the flak half track. Barton overall trying to keep up pressure momentarily versus Luvnest as always. And Luvnest, of course, trying to slow down Barton as much as possible and go on the offensive and try and push Barton onto a situation where he can't react as easily to what Luvnest is doing. MD-35 for Barton. He wants to try and constrain Luvnest infantry further. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of infantry, so the question, of course, if it's necessary to go for more than just a flak half track here. The field gun, which has a possibility of knocking out the flak half track, might of course slightly change the arithmetic of that question. Fox was maximum in the west. Might be able to get close enough for the incendiary if they don't expect it. Troops are getting the MD-34 out. Maschinengewehr 34. Flak half track running back there. Halfway to Veterans U1, and there you go. Barton got off on the flak half track, or Maxim machine gun. That's definitely not a flak half track. I was about to call it. Back here, healing reinforcement got into tank grenades up for Luvnest to deal with the flak half track. He's still pretty short on infantry, and of course it might be here that Luvnest is planning on relying a lot on guardsmen. Then having just 2 conscript scores of field is a bit risky versus Barton. Even with double Maxims, it might be a bit much. In fact, a bit opposite of much, a bit little. But there you go. Folks being fall back here due to a mine going off quite explosively. Medics up for Barton. No take-up yet for Luvnest. We got the infantry moving up here. Hold forwards. MD-34 moving about. We go opening up. Getting in some lighter damage up here. Troops reinforcing. We got a Academy from the way there for Barton. He's obviously quite worried here that Luvnest's going to rush him with the T-70 and H-6, so he's kind of forced to go for it since he's not been able to disrupt Luvnest's fuel enough to sort of build a leader hit to rush him for armor, so makes sense to what Barton is doing. Universal Luvnest bringing up the field gun here to counter the flak half track, and there you go, direct hit. He actually mined the cover here that Barton had down there earlier. Clever move there by Luvnest. Not a lot of players actually anticipate you mining their cover, so it's a pretty good idea that you actually consider doing. Pretty good idea to can, of course, which is what the Allies in general can, unless you're the Americans, don't have the doctrine for it. Flares going off there. There you go, first guard squad out here for Luvnest. Guards is ever quite solid infantry, and of course quite popular with a lot of solo players, particularly in team games. They are pretty much a straightforward get-go there to sort of secure, and I mean with deep light machines they become really great. So I mean it makes a lot of sense for Luvnest to go for that, particularly considering he's under attack from light vehicles, so there might be medium armor on the way. And Barton does seem to bring up there. Here we got the Schwere Wehrmacht Schlepper, or Heavy Wehrmacht Holer. Setting up the Schwere Panzer headquarters. Moving out the west side here, more or less same path. Figures that Luvnest hasn't laid down another mine. Luvnest is doing a reasonably good job there mining across here. Very good, very good. Good spot as well. Barton moving up on the Volksgrenadiers. In the centre we got empty for hook up against engineers. Barton's lines are a bit extended, could be very well open then to a counter-attack from Luvnest, and the more concentrated counter that team does seem to be happening in the east. So the Schwere Panzer quarters should make a ration over here a lot more expensive for Luvnest to do, due to the threat on the flank. And in this case, he might lose the flag half check. It's going to go down, it's going to go down! A big loss there for Barton, which will certainly make the MD-34 a lot more useful now, but not very good there for Barton. Hadn't done a lot of damage, so for this representing a pretty decent tactical victory there for Luvnest. I mean, denying value out of the flak half track is extremely good. Quick Barton hunt got in the west here, forcing Barton out into the open, well, his men specifically. Pushing up through the western victory point. Barton there holding on to both fuel points for now, which is going to give him a fuel lead here, which will allow him to push it for armour faster than Luvnest, who is finally taking up there. Though I would say the timing could indicate he might be planning a mechanised armour company, and usually by this time you'd be better off for it. Though it could be a bit risky considering the resource situation, but trying to push medium armour might in fact be the better choice here. Again, risky, but he's got the supporting company there. He does have field guns. I mean, Barton's clearly going to be pushing out for Panzer force as fast as possible. Luvnest with guard motor would be in this case likely well suited for just pushing for the T-3045, which the Oberkommando West Panzer force struggles with. Due to the T-3045's good penetration abilities versus the Panzer IV and its higher health. And it's rather, those small factors that gives the T-35 a bit of an edge. Plus, it does have decent armor at least versus, again, a Panzer IV, which doesn't have amazing penetration. There we go. Now it's actually Luvnest controlling more of the map here. Barton a bit more on the defensive. His forces bloodied and beaten back. Quick Barton Grenadier here. Noting Barton has actually upgraded him. He's got tons of munitions. I'm a bit surprised he's not getting any assault rifles out on the first, because it really give Barton some extra push here versus Luvnest. A lot more push. And there you go. Bombardment in the centre. Sturmpani is wiped out. That's a good win there for Luvnest. That is a good win. That's a critical 300 manpower unit, which Barton can't really afford to lose, and particularly wants to use his tanks. So getting a wipe on the Sturmpani usually represents something really good if you're the Allies. Bit of shooting in the west, Maxim being pushed back. Barton stabilising the line for the fatherland, Deutschland. Luvnest isn't going for light vehicles or taking out. Might be, of course, his two preoccupied what's going on the front line, but would if he'd have gone for something for now. Try and push in some direction as Barton's troops swarm through the west. Alright, Ludwig, I want you and your team to cover the flank as we go for the fuel point. But why us? We're depleted. Well, no one likes you. In that regard, Barton probably should have left the full health squad to do this, and never sent the less health squad to grab the point I feel. That's just me. Grenade here, but dodged nicely there by Barton. Dodged nicely. Sturm Pioneer charging forwards. And getting up close, there we go. Luvnest immediately retreat. In this case, realising the situation is lost, he just hits the retreat button. Very good decision. Back here though, Barton is getting very close to the Panther 4, and there you go, Luvnest is going for the Mechanized Armor Company. It was very much what I figured he would, but there's always that, you know, small room making me wrong, but in this case, considering the old situation, it makes, I think, a lot of sense there for Luvnest to try and, you know, get something that might give Barton's Panther 4 a lot of trouble. I mean, the only way this doesn't happen is if Barton ends up just going for a Panther instead, which he theoretically could, but isn't frightfully likely. And there we go, we got the Panther 4 on the way there. The Ausführung Yacht for Barton and Deutschland. And there you go, Marmendorf. Again, good spot here. Barton, of course, has seen how Barton moves across the map here, so, I mean, knowing how your opponent moves can usually give you some good ideas where to mine. So good stuff there. Good stuff. Eagle-eyed observation there from an expert player like Luvnest. Maxim pushing back the Sturmpioniere. Panther 4 halfway down there for Barton, for Deutschland. Here, troops healing reinforcing, and we got the heavy mortar out here for Luvnest, adding in some serious artillery. It does potentially slow down his option of getting out of T-35, but then again, he's not getting enough fuel fast enough to really push forward anytime soon, so he should be able to still push for the T-35, even going for the heavy mortar here. But Barton Panther 4 there arriving. The Model J was essentially the last model of Panther 4 before the war ended. Differences from some earlier models included rules like change to just make it cheaper to produce, like, and make it easier to produce as well, so you can produce more of them for a lower cost. But also the removal of the generator for the turret engine, well, the turret engine, but turret rotor, and basically due to lack of resources, they also have fitted in a larger fuel hold or whatever it's called there to sort of give it more range. At that stage of the war, that was a bit pointless since the German army was suffering severe fuel issues, so didn't really do much, to be honest. But there you go, wipes an engineer squad. And the rest of it got also there's an engineer squad with a minesweeper. My God, Otto, is coming at us with a minesweeper? What's he gonna do? Well, I don't know, but it's frightening me. And what is this? We actually got sector assault. We got sector assault. You do not see that one very often. But Barton's going for it. A Stuka-Schwerpunkt has been summoned. Targeting everything in there. Does Luvnest realize going there? Go retreat, air strafing going on there. And we got a tactical bomber moving in as well here. Wow. It actually killed more of Bartons than it killed of Luvnest. Oh God. That's usually an American thing, though. I mean, American bombers were known for being, shall we say, rather trigger happy. That's just... Oh, that's gotta feel bad for Barton. That has got to feel bad. But they looked Russian. They were wearing field grey uniforms, you Dummkopfs. Whenever does the Russians do that? They hate field grey. And there you go, Luvnest T-35 on the way there. Barton's Panther 4 moves up here, supported by an infantry squad, shattering the barbed wire and possibly doing the process. Now soon Luvnest will be able to push back with some armor of his own to show those fascists through tanking. And there you go, got the T-35 hit for Luvnest. The last model of T-35 before the war ended. There were a few experimental versions after the war, which included a 122mm gun, which unsurprisingly was too big though for the tank. Got a wipe there on Luvnest. Pretty good stuff for Barton. Should make up for the loss caused by his own aircraft. I mean, that's pretty harsh, paying 250 minutes to get one of your own units wiped. We got the west side there. Panther 4 hanging back, 12 kills. Oberkommandos Panther 4 by very effective at dealing with infantry after the buff. Very strong. Troops are reinforcing healing. Got the T-35 moving in, opening up the Fultz Grenadiers. Behind heavy cover, they're reasonably safe. There's the tanks, machine guns, which is definitely something you have to be worried about. There you go, Panther 4 gets a good hit down the T-35. Yeah, going to try and panther. There goes. Almost got to get a wipe there. Machine gun and main gun there, as you can notice, are doing some heavy damage to the Fultz Grenadiers. But he gets away. He gets away. Forcing Luvnest T-35 there to fall back. In the east, we got conscripts moving up with engineer support. Flamethrowers on the way to flush Barton out of the house there and gets close to the victory point. Gaspman hitting the dirt here as Fultz is launched as an assault. Barton continues not to reinforce or upgrade his Fultz Grenadiers, which is still fine. Honestly, is a bit of a weird choice here from Barton. I think he really would do great with it, but for whatever reason, Barton does not seem particularly interested. Good work there by Luvnest, making use of the self-repair ability. I've seen a lot of players lately neglecting it, but Luvnest clearly understands the power of getting the bloody tank crew to do the work itself. Since when did we become mechanics? Now fix it, or you'll be sent to the gulag. Oh. There you go, Panther flanking the T-35 there. Luvnest being ahead a bit aggressive. There's not a lot of ways right now for Barton to punish Luvnest T-35 for doing that. In particular, since it is a T-35, it can soak up more damage, so it'd have to like really catch in a bad spot with a lot of firepower very fast. Rush through the centre here, Maxim holding back a Fultz squad. We got a cannon fire there on the side of the T-35. Luvnest slightly pushing his luck more. There you go, Panther moves in. Shot bounces off the T-35's armour, possibly the turret armour in this case, which I believe did have thicker armour than the hull actually should have had. Concentrating there for the eastern point, might try and threaten Luvnest fuel point again, though it's going to be pretty tricky with the Schwerpanzer quarters plus the flares. That makes it pretty tricky to just sneak up and they grab it, trying beyond the line of sight of the Schwerpanzer quarters. Opening up there on the Panzer IV. No additional Panzer IV. Could be here the Barton with the sight of the T-35. It's going to go for a Panther here. The Panzerkampfwagen 5. Panzer. Sandbags down there. No sun additional armor there for Barton as of yet. It seems like he might be setting up for another sector assault there. Dog Kednev's Panzerfaust and T-35 there, doing some heavy damage. But with the field gun they can't use as pursuit with using the Panzer IV. Barnes continue to float here, and there you go. We do see the Panther, we do see the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Skirmishing in the west. A push for the centre victory point is quickly deterred here by the Panzer IV. And that's going to be likely a wipe here thanks to the vet. Since 2 guardsmen hitting there. No! Jürgen gets away. Impressive. Panther halfway done there for Barton. Kednev was creeping ahead. T-35 there being fixed up, close to Betty 2, and we get another sector sold in from Barton. Seems like he just really wants to try and see what to make of it, because it's a highly underutilized ability, looking at a very underutilized doctrine. There you go, Panther out. Panzerkampfwagen 5. Bit of strafing here. Bombing run inbound. Got a single kill. Less impressive there compared to the wipe he got his own infantry squad. Panther 4 Panther moving in here. Tactical bomber there flying about. Might be in for another pass. There we go. Panther T-35 going here for the Panther 4 going for the T-35, which is quickly falling back. Field gun incoming fire. And there you go, another bombing run. Damages the machine gun in plate and doesn't do anything else. Panther is a T-35, needs to be covered with this 3. Panther 4 not spawned there, got a Kedman for the race. Almost got the T-35, almost got it. Oh, we got marked vehicle. Penetrate, nope, it missed, but still the AV damage took a lot of health out of the Panther, and there you go. Gets it, but the field gun up on the rear side. Oh dear, Panther's joking about. He should just keep driving here forwards. Instead, he drives within the arc of fire of the field. In fact, he just stays barely beyond it. Like, he just continued to head here and drove it up there. Well, there's a guardsman waiting there, I guess. He might have had a better chance of surviving. So right there's not well executed. For some reason, the Panther 4 wasn't actually joining in. I think that was a big mistake there of Barton. Like, he should have had the Panther 4 finding cover. In which case, you could clear out the field gun with the Panther 4 while the Panther went for the T-35. But for some reason, Barton withheld the Panther 4 there. Ultimately costing him the Panther as he got the T-35. And the problem is, that's a pretty great trade for Luvnest. I mean, getting a Panther for the cost of a single T-35 is amazing. That was not good there with Barton. That was a tactical misjudgment there, which cost him quite a bit. So that Panther just... He didn't actually manage to do that much when he got the T-35, so it's not a complete waste, but it still didn't earn itself in. And for that matter, generate any additional value. I would say the Panther Force, I think recently done it by now, but that Panther got wasted. Another T-35 there for Luvnest for the 10th Mechanized Corps. Gosh, not suppressed by the MD-34. Closing in on Veteran T3. T-35 almost done for Luvnest. Big 2 points whilst Barton's got a lead here with Luvnest by a few hundred points. Very good. Punch guard, they continue trying to flank, attempt to end the machine gun. There you go, hitting the dirt, forces moving up. This is actually where Barton, I think, would benefit from a few orbitals down there. He's got too much infantry, I think, to make it work. We got a light infantry gun for Barton, so he's bringing up his own artillery by now. A bit late, I would say, but not necessarily bad. And Luvnest is just allowing the guardsmen to cook before realising they need to get out of there. Those capes are made out of asbestos. They're made out of wool, maybe. Possibly rat skin. Ooh, straight to the double Kevin Panther 4 hit as well there. Very good ambush there by Bart. Almost getting the T-35 entirely, in fact. Very low on health there, very low on health. Not good engagement there for Luvnest at all. Still, Luvnest is holding a good chunk of the map now here versus Barton. Good chunk of the map. Action there, hammering away. Stalling Barton's assault. Barton, interesting enough, seems to be putting less and less pressure. It's not fact, example, not in trying to catch flanking the centre through there. Or even here, like he's just attacking head on, so it seems like Barton might be slowly tunnel visioning here in Luvnest, which is definitely something you should be careful about. And I think Barton might actually be playing for a second Panther. But he's first going for double light infantry guns. He definitely wants to sort of try and suppress Luvnest defences and, you know, murder some of the stuff, so he's going for his artillery zone. So that would deal with some of all the Luvnest support weapons. We'll have to see how that works out. Got Luvnest looming up here. And in the west, Barton advances for Deutschland, covered here by the MD-34. Reasonably nice positioning, can sort of cover up most attacks here, though you could actually start things slightly sort of edge it further here because there's a bit of a blind spot here, so I could cover a bit more towards here if necessary. Though versus the T-35, which Luvnest is sending in, it's not going to matter anything. There you go, forced away. Still no assault rifles with Barton. He seems really intent there on the sector assault ability. Bit rare to get someone who's that focused on it. Bit rare. Pushing to the end of the near strength from the Panzer IV and the Sturmpionier. In the east to push up here as well. Luvnest is trying to push a wide front now against Barton. Make it harder for Barton to defend if necessary. And make it hard for him to just focus on one point at a time. It does, of course, carry risks here for Luvnest. He could risk extending, just getting stuff murdered because he can't pay attention to it all. So It's obviously not just a super easy move here for Luvnest. T4 they're doing what he can, victory point wise. Luvnest continues to bleed out here in the favour of Barton. And these comes moving up there, but they are halted by the schwer punted quarters. T4 moving again, slightly shifting about. Might be that Barton's actually planning for a king target, in which case he's going to need the mechanized regiment, but I suppose I could see it happening. It's either that he's just not paying attention, he's accidentally delaying his other tank. So we'll see what it ends up with for Barton. Got a wipe there versus Luvnest, pretty good, pretty good. And there you go, we got a second Panther here for Barton. Luvnest can actually go for a second T445 in a few moments. I think Barton obviously could have had a Panther out much sooner, but I think got too caught up in the proceedings. Luvnest can definitely go for it now. He's also throwing quite a bit of munitions, but now Luvnest would benefit a lot from more mines, so that way, catch up Barton whenever he tries to attack. Panther can prove itself an amazing asset there with 29 kills. A true hero of Germany. 30 kills. Another sector assault from Barton. That is his third sector assault. Hopefully doesn't wipe some of his own stuff again. Another T-45 over there for Luvnest. And there you go, tactical bomber inbound. You gotta hit some lights this time, Ludwig. Ooh. Well, he didn't get a wipe, but he did kill some of the maximum gunners, I guess. But that could have been a lot more impactful, I suppose. Panther setting up there, Panther 4 nearby. Straight up through the centre here. Big 2 point wise. Luvnest continues to bleed like a stuck pig. And not a stuffed pig, like the American announcer likes to say. Oh dear, that almost looks like a taken out by his own bombing run, but there you go, some more damage done here. Bit more damage. 116 left here for Luvnest, starting to get a bit closer, starting to get a bit close. Barton needs to be careful with attacking, and he's attacking head on straight to where most of Luvnest's guns are pointed. In this case, got a bit lucky, and there you go, more bombs, and they're mostly just ruining the terrain. The overall impact is so far seemingly negligible. I mean, again, out of 3 bombing runs, like the most damage he did was to Barton himself rather than any enemy armor. There you go, Mark V looking on the Panther. Barton overall needs more careful with how he utilises that Panther. In particular, knowing his opponent's Mark vehicle, it's really a battle. You just park it right in front of every gun, and there you go, Panther 4 down. Barton there mishandling his armor bit, making it very easy for Luvnest to deal with it. He should have tried to flank or at least support with some smoke screens. Instead, well, that's not quite ended up. Also looks like his line gun has been wiped though, so that obviously makes that a bit more difficult. 100 points left for Luvnest. Got the T-55 rolling through. 7 kills for the Motherland. Going for that Panther. Shoots and penetrates. T-55 misses. There you go. Panther makes out the Kedner for force away the T-55. Even things are a bit closer around the centre. And pretty dicey. As Luvnest is now occupying every single victory point. Kedner for crude. And there we go. So for a very handy ability in that sense, you can just push a tank away and just begin, repairing it on its own. It doesn't have to be managed at all, and that's of course very important. Because the less you have to manage stuff in the rear lines, the better, so that can allow you to focus on the front line. It's why, the mechanized regiment is pretty good for the Oberkommando, because it also allows for this. It's also one of the reasons why the Wehrmacht teching system is really clunky, because you not just have to tech, you also begin putting units back to building. Like, you got so many more steps to manage. But right now, Barton is heavily in the defensive as Luvnest, who's got 2 tanks. Barton was able to finish any of them off, and he suffered quite heavy losses in the process. He doesn't have any elite infantry. Luvnest does have self-support weapons. Barton might want to consider recruiting his light infantry gun and maybe laying down the smoke screen next time. Try to push in like that, so that way neutralise, at least negate some of the damage from the anti-tank weapons. In particular, since now Luvnest has a veteran 3 cis, which is really bad news for any German tank. Even heavy tanks suffer under that.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Troops are being bombarded in the centre. And stopped here in the Western World by 2nd Maxim. 99 versus 363. And another Panther 4 there for Barton. Another Panzerkampfwagen 4. Panther there being fixed up. No, this is the Model A, which came after the Model D, but before the Model G, which was the final model essentially. There's rumours about the Model F seeing some uses, but overall that's probably just what it is, rumours. And the Model F basically had a smaller turret, which was very cramped, but also more armoured and had some benefits in terms of producing command tanks. But there's like barely any space in the Model F turret there, and even like the other Panther model turrets were pretty cramped actually, to be honest. Like you didn't actually have a lot of room to maneuver about to load the gun, for example. But still, Panther gunners could achieve very high rates of fire with their guns. Whoa! Panther actually one-shot an entire engineer squad. That's pretty impressive, and kind of lucky for Barton. But the Panthers are going to need repairs. Panther 4 hanging back here. Luvnest just controlling the field by now. Barton certainly squandered, I think, a lot of armour there and some poorly conceived attacks. Certainly onto the advantage of Luvnest. So the question, of course, is what is Barton going to try to do to turn the game around versus Luvnest? What will he do? As he's getting barred here with the T-45 on the sidelines. Panther being fixed up. Machine gun getting bombarded with the T-45. Needs to retreat. That's a veteran 5 machine gun gewehr. And there you go, just barely managed to save it here versus Luvnest Wrath. Barely. Pretty damn close there. Pretty damn close for Barton. And this Panther's almost good to go. Almost.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory. Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
Now it's Barton's time to bleed victory points. Pushing up the eastern side here, the Panther 4 and the Panther. His mindset off there. T-45 shoots quite there, but doesn't actually anything there. Go veteran from the Panther. Kedma shoots, penetrates the Panther's frontal armour. Mortar hit, they're almost wiping out the Sturm Pioneers. Shot bounced. Shot hit there. Comes to taking man losses there from the Panzer 4. Up north, here, the Kedma actually watched the strange and then years supported by an old Maxim the Guardsman. There we go. 29 and 23 kills. It certainly packed quite a punch there. Barton, I think, is increasingly in the defense, but it's just, he's losing more and more men. He's trying to try and, deal with this situation. His Luvnest just got such a big force with so many anti-tank weapons. They can just do so much damage to his vehicles and tanks too fast. And of course, this is kind of where the Panther's going to benefit from the Oberkommando's Panthers from the buff, because again, it's getting a higher rate of fire. It's going to be pretty big for that. Though he really shouldn't have thrown that first Panther away, though. That was pretty bad for Barton. A really big investment he just sort of threw out the window, allowing Luvnest to really sort of gain back on the field there. Panther lands a good did it in the T-45, but that's about it. This is looking good here for Barton. as he continues with another head-on assault against Luvnest here. Despite Luvnest being heavily dug in, he's pretty much resorting to the same tactic for the umpteenth time in a row. And there you go, Panzer 4 there, or Panzer 5, hit there directly by Kednev, trying to go for the T-55 here, try to deal with that at least, but risking an anti-tank rate. There we go. Oh, here, don't mind, the main gun is out on the Panther, the main gun is out, and the tank's going to turn around here. He's going to lose that Panther. No infantry support to extradite them because the infantry being held down around the centre. This is a not very good development there for Barton. And the 7th Panzer Division. There you go, direct hit from the field gun on the Panzer Force. The Panther just limps back to German lines. 155 versus 99 still. Almost getting the field gun there, virtually free. And almost got there, we go by Kednev up in the rear armour, penetrating the Panzer 4, taking it down to half health. And there you go, another hit. Damn it. Main gun out, and there you go, damaging run from the Kednev. Luvnest is tearing apart Barton's armour and forces, and there we go. With that, Barton surrenders, a loss for Germany, a victory for the Soviet Union. A brutal battle right here in Mangarskaya. Barton was close at times, but again, he sort of got really, I think, confident, began throwing away his tanks and throwing away a Panther is usually a pretty good way of giving your opponent a heads up. So right there, I think that was one of Barton's bigger issues. Also, he just got too focused in the centre, not enough flanking, not enough manoeuvre, and that just also allowed Luvnest to more easily focus all of his defences. That way, working towards even faster taking up, Barton's armour. So that's certainly something worth keeping in mind there. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, one, subscribe to your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send a replay and some feedback in the comment section. And if you like what I do consider donating. Links to the video description. Patreon or PayPal always helps me out a ton. So do consider if you can. This is Imperial signing off, and see you all tomorrow for another signing episode. Bye.